In today's episode of BizJet TV, we're going to be talking about shared ownership, which is not the same as fractional ownership, and I'll go into it. And it is a really good way of owning an aircraft, and I'll explain to you why. Now, welcome to BizJet TV. If you've never been here before, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up at the end of the video if you really liked it. If you really liked it, give us a super thanks. So, what is shared ownership? Now, shared ownership is a situation where, and I'll give you a practical example. When I first started flying as a professional pilot, I ended up managing a Citation 1, which is a jet for two owners, and the two owners were also pilots and business people, so they were pilot owners, as I call them, and they used to fly. They didn't have the same business, so one flew for his business, the other one flew for the other. Now and again, they flew together, mainly on weekends and things like that. So in a situation like that, what happens is you've got fixed costs and you've got variable costs on an aircraft. Now, the fixed costs are things like the hangar, the maintenance, the insurance, the navigation database, all this kind of thing are classified as a fixed cost. So you would split the fixed cost 50-50, and then there'll be the variable costs, such as landing fees, overflight fees, fuel, and that you will pay according to how many hours you fly. So if you fly 120 hours a year, you'll pay the variable cost on 120 hours, and the other guy will pay for 80 hours that he flies. And that adds up to 200 hours. And it really is convenient at the 200-hour mark. If you can find somebody else that's going to buy into an airplane with you, that's 100 hours flying each. And it's a great advantage, because if the fixed costs on the aircraft are, let's say, $1 million a year, you're only going to be paying $500,000. Now, the $500,000 that you're saving, you can use towards your variable costs, fuel, landing fees, and that kind of thing when you do your flying. So it really is convenient, but it can also be inconvenient, and it's really important to find the right partner. First of all, they have to live in your local area, so you house the airplane at an airport that's convenient for both. The next thing is you've got to look at your schedules. So you've got to see where you're going to be going, how often you go to these places, what kind of days of the week, and you need to talk to the other guy. So, well, I need to go to, I don't know, from Dallas to Orlando twice a month, and the other guy looks at his schedule, and you just sit down and say, well, I need to use the airplane to go to Orlando next week. I can go Tuesday or Wednesday. Do you need the airplane? Yeah, I need it on Monday, maybe moving into Tuesday. Okay, well, then I'll schedule my trip on the Wednesday. So it really needs to be communication between the two owners in order for this to work. The other thing is, what some people do is they place it with a management company, and the management company has more buying power as far as fuel and things like that. So it can be convenient to put it with a management company, but there's also a lot of people decide, you know what, here we are, we're two owners, we're going to hire up one pilot, and that pilot is going to look after the airplane for us, because we don't really want other people knowing what we're up to. One pilot will keep his mouth shut and manage the airplane for us, maybe use some freelance pilots now and again if and when needed, or maybe just hire two pilots, depending if you're a pilot owner or if you're just one of these guys that rides in the back. So that's something that needs to be looked into. So it is a very, very convenient way to get into aircraft ownership, is to share the cost with another person. Some people end up getting 3 or 4 people together to buy an aircraft. Obviously, more people own the aircraft, more difficult it's going to be to manage the schedule, because if you've got 4 owners and they all want the airplane on Monday or Tuesday, it's going to be difficult to work out a schedule that's going to work for everybody. So it usually is a very good solution for 2 people, because it's a lot easier to work things out. And if these 2 people are friends, it's even better. Now, obviously, finding somebody that's going to buy half an airplane with you, if you're a pilot owner, it's a lot easier, because pilot owners know other pilot owners. But if you're a business guy, you're not necessarily going to know other business guys that are into airplanes. May do, maybe not. And then, of course, it also depends on what area of the world you live in. For example, in the United States, there are a lot more people own airplanes. So if you're in a main city like Dallas or Houston or Orlando, Tampa, New York, it's going to be a lot easier to find somebody else that will want to chip in and buy half an airplane. Also, you can talk to people like me. I know a lot of people that have aircraft. Maybe I can help you find the other partner. So, again, it will depend on the location, and that's the first thing. And then the second thing, it will also depend on the various schedules of the 2 potential owners. So you'd have to really sit down and look at, where each owner needs to go and why they're using the airplane. People usually buy an airplane because they have to go to certain places a number of times a year. And they sort of say, well, we're going to go out there 3 times a month, over there twice a month. and sort of work out the schedules and make sure we have a plan. And then when the two schedules, there's a conflict with the two schedules, that we have a solution to who's going to be using the airplane and who's going to have to charter out or use a jet card or whatever it may be. So that's how the shared ownership works. Let's get the conversation going below. If you are in shared ownership or you have been in shared ownership, let's get the conversation going. How have you found it? What have been the pros and the cons? And what type of aircraft have you had a shared ownership in? And let's get that conversation flowing. Usually the shared ownership tends to happen with a smaller aircraft. When we get into the larger aircraft, it's usually people that have a lot more money, so they just go out and buy themselves a 7X for $20 million and off they go. And that's how that usually works. But anyway, so let's get the comments going below. Give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to Bizjet TV if you haven't done so already, and give us a super thanks if you really enjoyed this video. And check out this video we did recently about the Falcon 10X, which is new aircraft built by Dassault, which will be coming on the market very soon as the first prototype starts flying and gets certified. That's coming to the skies of the world to fly business people around. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on Bizjet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.